Maria, are you guys funded?
We are. So we had so we've had an angel round, and then also we've been largely funded by, in the US, we have what are called SBIR awards, so Small Business and Innovation Awards, from different US federal agencies. So we've had those from US Department of Agriculture, National Institutes of Health, and National Science Foundation.
Excellent. How do you choose your investors? Do you go after everybody who has money?
No, very carefully. I think in the beginning, you think you should just go after everybody that has money, right? And then I think it really, especially we're working in education. And so education's similar in some ways to healthcare. It takes a long time, right? And if it's not like if I'm, say buying a pair of yoga pants and they don't work, oh well, right? It's if I use this solution in a classroom for 10 hours in front of a kid who's already underperforming and it fails, I've stolen that time from a kid who needs it more than anyone, right? And so I've taken that opportunity, 10 hours of, say, third or fourth grade math, they'll never get back, right? And so one, I couldn't live with that on just a day-to-day life standpoint, but also schools can't use that. They're not going to take risks. They're really slow to take risks. They want lots of efficacy. They want all those things. And they're very slow to buy. So for us, I think when we've looked at investors, we've been really clear on, and this is probably a terrible thing to say, but especially early on, I say to our investors, like, don't give me this money if you can't lose it, right? And that's probably a bad thing to say, but then I don't have to worry about them coming back to me, repeatedly. You hear these stories about every couple weeks, or a couple months, they're checking in, what's going on? How's this happening? And so I really pick our investors very, carefully. And I think, I ask them, are you interested in education? Do you understand the space? So we have some folks who really are really interested in social impact, and they're really interested in education, and they really want to give us, good counsel and mentoring. And then we have a couple of folks who are like, you know what, I like your team, I like what you're doing, here's your money. Just don't, just let me know if I have more money at the end, right? And so we've really been careful on picking those kind of folks instead of just saying, hey, here's our numbers, or especially when you have growth and things like we've had 50% growth the last couple months just because everything going online and school, and we've been well positioned. But I think you sometimes get a little bit overexcited, like, great, now I can go get some of these people that maybe wouldn't have looked at me before. But for us, we really sit back and think, wait, who are the people that we want long-term involved with this company, and do their visions align with ours? And there's been times where we've met with people and we thought, the money would be nice, but we don't know if we want this person involved with us long term. And so we've kind of said, oh, well, we think we're going to hold off, or things like that. So it can be hard, like Asim was saying, to leave money on the table. But at the same time, you think about, do I want to have to deal with this person all of the time? And part of it is, if you have money in the bank, a little bit, it gives you some flexibility. But yeah, we really, it's funny, I talk about, it's kind of like dating, right? And I thought I'd get married and I wouldn't have to date anymore, but it's a lot of like that, like, is this a fit? Do you like me? Do I like you? Where do we see this going? And we've been really lucky. The investors we have are, I think, because of that process, 100% on board with what we do and supportive of what we're doing.
Excellent. So guys, don't just get money from anybody. You can date anybody, but you can't marry anybody. So getting investment is like marrying somebody, because they're going to be with you for a while. So it's important to choose them, and they should also choose you. Your visions must align. That's the learning from Maria. Excellent. Top 3 questions, Maria, that investors ask you.
So I think one, so beyond just kind of some of the metrics, or you're looking at the metric things as well?
Otherwise.
Sorry. So I think one big thing they ask is, what's your vision, right? What do you see as, what do you hope to accomplish, right? Do you think you're going to be in every school? Do you think, so having a vision, and I think it's really, on one hand, we've learned as we've gone through, don't be huge, right? Don't say we're going to be in every school, because one, I don't even believe that, right? Like, there's no solution that's in every single school. So having a realistic vision, and I think part of that question isn't just to see where you're going, but it's to see if you really understand the market, right? If I said we're going to be in 90% of US schools in 2 years, an investor should walk away, because that's not realistic. So I think they look at where you see you're going. They ask, what's your exit strategy? And that's a big one. And again, that's kind of a thing, some companies, it's IPO, but for a lot of companies, it's an acquisition, right? Ed tech is a lot of acquisitions. So they say, what is your exit strategy? And again, I think one, they want to know that you have an exit strategy or you have thought about that, but two, they want to see if you understand what that's going to be. And what that should look like for your industry. So I'd say those are two. One that I really like, and I don't know if I always get upset, what would you expect from us? And that's one that I kind of, and besides, money, to have some other answers. Why is it? And I think, like I said, it goes back to their kind of sizing you up too. Like, are you just interested in the money I bring to the table, or are there other ways that you think that I'm a fit? And so that's a good one too, not just saying, well, we'd like money and here's what we do with it and here's our plan and here's our numbers and here's all these things. But, why we're really interested in you is because X, and the expertise they bring or the other companies they've worked with or those kind of things. So I'd say those are three questions that maybe in day one we weren't expecting, thinking about, and now we're thinking about a lot. And I think we're at the point where we have answers to all those, but those are three that I think are good to think about if you haven't already.
Excellent, wonderful. So each question which you just gave to us is a double-edged sword. They're asking you something and they're also expecting you to think a little more than the question. Excellent. That's a great piece of advice from you, Maria.